T-minus 17 seconds and counting.
Listen to a lot of Christian music, but Christian music's gotten way better lately.
Mm-hmm.
There's this artist called named Graham, and he collabed with a big Christian band, Maverick City. A couple really good songs. This one's All That I Need, called All That I Need.
I give it all back, I'm on my knees. Take what you want, cause that means nothing to me. I'd rather be broke, all these riches are cheap. Cause if I got you, then I got all that I need. All that
As a man of faith,
need.
like, it's important to just remember, like, you don't need anything else. It's just like, that's enough. You're enough for that way you are.
I've fluctuated a lot in my life with my beliefs, and like I'm at a really interesting point right now. So that's why I'm really grateful for this conversation, to hear you talk about God and your version of God and what that means to you. So with that, I'll introduce this conversation and say, I'm
Mikey Maloney.
Mikey Maloney. Thank you for coming to my house and talking to me about random stuff that I'm going to ask you about today. A lot of it pertaining to like successes you've had and how you've been as a leader. So I'm really looking forward to diving into that. Is there anything else you want to say before we start?
No, I appreciate you having me.
Of course. So upon looking at your Instagram bio, it said, Mikey Maloney, God, Jill, friends, fitness, business, and work. And that is the itinerary for this conversation. You made it so easy for me. Let's start with God. What does God mean to you? Who is God? And what version of faith do you have?
Yeah. So I'm a Christian. I grew up in the church. Throughout high school, I went to church, went to youth group, and got to know the story of Jesus. As I progressed through high school, I knew it, but I wasn't really acting it. Jesus calls us to certain standards of living. That means we have to, as Christians, put away your desires for fleshly, worldly things. Things like premarital sex, alcohol, overconsumption, even things like gluttony and laziness. And I didn't really take that and like apply it to my life until probably my senior year of high school. I went on a very deep dive retreat, mostly just because I felt like it was like the next step in it was kind of what people at the church were doing. I go to Northview, and it was just what people at Northview were doing, and really figured out that as I was going from 17 to 18, I was going to have a lot more freedoms going off to college, and I had to make my faith my own. And so started implementing practices to get closer to God. Throughout college, I went to a school called Taylor. That's a Christian school.
Yeah.
And so the community there was very encouraging to be like, just encourage each other to be the best Christians, and community is a very intentional group of people. And so that's really when I was able to take those practices that I talked about kind of learning in high school, in the later part of high school, and apply them to my life. And faith is difficult because we're held to the standard of a Christian is Christ. Like Christ is the gold star Christian, literally perfect. And as a Christian, you're never going to achieve that because we're humans. We make mistakes. And so there's always something to be striving for. You've never gotten it. You've never perfected it, which I actually think is really cool. But I guess, one of the things that I had to learn throughout college is that as a Christian, because your gold star is inachievable, it just means you have to, you can never get content in your faith. Yeah, it's really, as far as your question about what does God mean to me, it's grounding, it's reassuring. The song that I played right before this, All That I Need, is like everything could be going on in the world and tons of people could hate me and I could be broke and I still have all that I need in a Father who loves me, who died on the cross for me. And even if my circumstances aren't ideal, like I'm still enough and he still loves me. And so it really is a grounding and humbling relationship.
So compared to before you really embraced that on your junior retreat, how do you feel different now to then? Like, did you feel like something was lacking before you really embraced it? And also, the second part of that is what happened on that retreat to change all of that?
Yeah. So first part of your question, there's the answer to that would just be every time, and it's happened since then too, but every time I've turned to worldly things to try to fill a void, things like pornography, alcohol, overworking, laziness, food, things that I'm just trying to use to just fill a void. It's a quick fix and it's never lasting. Mm-hmm. And because of what I was talking about, faith being a grounding thing, it's constant. The ground, if you think about the ground, it's supporting, it doesn't move, it holds everything up. Like, that is how I see faith in my life. The second part of your question about the retreat, specifically that retreat was designed for high schoolers to call them to make their faith their own. I think a lot of people grew up in the faith and fell away at one point or another, and the reason for a lot of that is because people don't make their faith their own unless they choose to. Like in high school, your parents tell you to go to church, mm-hmm. and sometimes it's not as much of a choice. You're just like, you're in the midst of it. Or if you go to a Catholic school or a Christian school, like that's what you're surrounded by. Mm-hmm. This retreat specifically, we focused on what does it mean to actually take your faith and have it as your own, not your parents, not your siblings. It's your faith. You have to be the one in the driver's seat.
That's beautiful, yeah. And it seemed like a lot of things changed from that moment forward. And I mean, you have a very genuine sense of peace, like radiating from you. And I mean, it's a testament to everything you've said so far. So that's very assuring for me and beautiful to see. So the next part in your Instagram bio, it says Jill. Instead of talking about specifically her, unless you want to, talk about marriage and why that is something you've done with your life, what that ring on your finger means, and expand on anything you want to about that.
Yeah, Jill is the biggest human blessing in my life. We met in college pretty early on, and we got married in 2020 in the midst of COVID. Had to cut down our wedding size, but still we said, let's just do it and get married. And she moved to Indy at that time because that's where my job was. And so she stepped out and left her family and came to live here in a new place, a new environment. And she's so special because she's fun to be around. She's extremely loving. She makes people very comfortable. She is very outgoing, extroverted, yeah, and beautiful. And the reason that I chose marriage and that we chose marriage, I think there's a little bit of a, maybe it's harsh to call it an epidemic, but a little bit of an epidemic of people dating for a really long time and not getting married because they want to wait until their finances are right, or they want to make sure it's the right fit, or, I mean, after, you're never going to know everything about somebody. It's continually, you'll be learning things. You could spend 24/7 for years on end with somebody and you'll still be learning things about them. The 3 questions I asked myself when I was considering whether I should get engaged to Jill or not is, do I think she's beautiful? That was an easy yes. Does she make me a better person? And reflecting on our dating relationship so far, the answer was yes. Still is yes. And then the 3rd question, does she love God? Because that is a central part of our relationship. And I wanted to find, and kind of plays into making me a better person, wanted to find somebody that pushes me to and holds me to Christ-like standards. Because as a Christian, that is the gold star, the ultimate bar. And so, yeah, she's a very big blessing in my life.
That's incredible. Yeah, you two seem very happy, and it's very admirable. I agree. I think there is some version of an epidemic going on, and a subset of that is I feel like men have really gone astray as a group. I think it'd be a really good time to talk about Apex and starting all of that, because like I've been passionate my whole life. I've texted you personally about like, I think it's so cool that you're doing this, because I'm so passionate and wanting to do something like that on my own, but I don't need to because you have this thing now. So what is Apex? What got you to start this, and how has it grown for you the last couple of years?
Yeah, Apex is one of my favorite things, favorite parts about Indy. Apex is a group of men in their 20s and 30s who get together once a quarter and push each other to be better, well-rounded men, not just in business and marriage, in how you interact with friends, how you interact with strangers, and just all around, just how to be a great version of a man. So yeah, I started this a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I think. And I started it because I realized coming out of college, I graduated during the pandemic, and everybody moved back home from my class, because there was no job offers, barely any job offers, and we had to finish school, and so everybody just moved back home. And because that's where we were, and because the job market was so tight, everybody just had to use relationships to find jobs. And so I want to say like 90% of people that I grew up with moved back after college, and most of them still live in the area too. And I found that it was super easy to hang out with the same people, not really expand your circle, because they're comfortable. And I love all my high school friends are awesome. But it is nice to meet new people, and I felt like we would have a lot of the same conversations talking about sports. What have you been up to lately? Very over, pretty simple questions. And every now and then we would switch. Maybe it was after the first or second drink. We just start talking a little bit deeper, and you just switch and have a really impactful conversation about what are you actually doing in your marriage to be a better husband, or how has your relationship with your parents changed since you've been in high school and then college and then after college. And these are really engaging and fun conversations for me to have. And I realized that as men, we need most of those conversations don't just happen.
Yeah.
They don't just come up out of nowhere. And I felt like I needed a space to bring people in to have those types of conversations very intentionally. And I had a wide enough network from growing up here, staying in touch with people through college, and then a lot of people from Taylor, where I went to school, moved back to Indy or moved to Indy after school. And so was able to, and from being involved in different groups throughout the last couple of years, entrepreneurship groups and real estate groups and all of that, just felt like it was the right next step to be able to connect really cool people, and also not just connect them for the sake of business or for the sake of doing deals together, but like connecting people for the sake of building relationships together. And if business happens from that, great. If somebody gets coffee with somebody else, like that's a win too. Like if it's the whole premise behind it is just how do we create a space to build quality relationships with really quality people in your 20s and 30s. And it's a work in progress. There's a lot of things that I'm learning. Again, it's quarterly, so I've only done it 7 or 8 times now. And each time I try to implement something new or a little twist. But it's one of my favorite events of the quarter, definitely.
I love that I'm a part of it. I've had a lot of fun at them. I love how I'm watching it grow and change and morph. Like it's its own living thing. And I just love the leadership style you bring into it. There's no ego involved at all. And you don't really talk about starting it or anything like that. I think it's awesome the way you embody the form of a leader. I guess what have been some of the harder parts of continuing an organization like that, if there's been anything difficult?
Yeah, it's been there's difficult parts for sure, but it's very much a net positive in my life.
Yeah.
So I started it. When I started it, I had the intent to just bring some really cool people together. I kind of handpicked like who all I wanted to come to the first event and just kind of set the bar pretty high of like a lot of these people are business owners or unique thinkers or every single person that comes to Apex has at least an attribute or two that I'm like, I want that in my life. I don't have that. I want more of what that guy has.
Yeah.
And so it's not just a group of people that like are talking about fatherhood, but they don't know how to be fathers. It's like a group of people that like really cares about being a great father.
Yeah.
And that across every topic. But yeah, it's probably most difficult part of it is just the time consumption of it. It's not something that I'm making money from. It's not something that I want to make money from directly. But it does take a long time to prep and send out a bunch of texts, follow up, make sure people are coming. And again, it's like because I want to keep the quality high. I don't just it's not a public event. It's if you have the link, then you're invited.
Yeah.
And I do that because I know that we split up into small groups and have the discussion. And if you get in a group with multiple people that don't have attributes that you're striving to obtain yourself, then like that's a wasted hour, I think. And so the people that I'm bringing in and that other people have brought in are all people that I admire and see things in that I'm like, that is really cool. I want more of that.
That's awesome. Do you see any opportunity for other communities like this to rise up, whether it's a completely different genre or something like that? I mean, can you speak about that at all? Have you seen any similar organizations that have done it like you?
Churches do similar things with men's groups, but it's more of there's different groups for different things.
Yeah.
Bible study is not as much about relationship with each other. It's a little bit more about relationship with Christ and how to know how you know the Bible. But speak to a little bit of like the passion of this is like, and I don't think that this problem is going away anytime soon. It's like you go to college, a lot of people go to college and you're surrounded by people your age, you live with those people, you do life together, you go to the same classes, you eat at the same places, and it's structured for community.
Yeah.
And that's what you know. And that's your first experience of independence outside of high school for most people. And so you go from high school, living with your parents, not really much independence, and then college, a lot of independence and a very tight, like cultured community, or cultivated specifically. Like the way that college functions is people are in community. Like it's set up for that.
Yeah.
Then you graduate and you go to whatever city, and wherever
you have to work for
you find a
friendships
job
for the first time.
and
It's the
yeah, you don't
weirdest
know.
thing ever.
So you graduate. You're like, I don't know. I only know 3 people here.
Yeah.
I only know 4 people. Sometimes you're like, I know nobody here. And I saw that, and I saw as people graduated, they're looking for people. People love relationships.
Yeah.
And especially people that go to Apex love relationships. And when I saw that, and I'm like, I think I have the community, and I love introducing people to new people too. It's like one of my favorite things is to introduce somebody really cool to somebody else really cool. And I'm like, you guys, like, just go, like,
Be free.
like, help each other out. Like, that's one of my favorite things to
And
do.
you've seen a lot of that. And things I'm sure have come from this that you could never have imagined already.
Yeah, there's been, I mean, it helps me out a lot just because it keeps me in relationship with 30 or 35 people at least on a quarterly basis. Whether it's just through texting them once a quarter just to say, hey, we got this event coming up, would love to see you there, or whether it's through them actually coming and us enjoying a group together. But yeah, there have been people that have bought houses from the group because they've been connected, and
I technically fall into that category. Thanks
let's
to
go.
Jonah.
Let's go. And people that have had coffees and lunches, doing deals together, business successes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been anybody introduced. It's a men's group, so I don't think anybody's been introduced to their wife or anything from this, but maybe one point.
There's potential for me. I don't know who can introduce me to who, but
Yeah, somebody gets to know you, they're like, hey, I think you might like this chick.
you
So
love
you never
my
know.
sister.
Yeah. Let me introduce you. You never know what could come from it.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I love the opportunities that have showed up. And like, you know, I've shown up at points where I'm not that confident in myself, but people lift me up. And there's this like really cool environment fostered by what you've created. So I just hat off
I
every
appreciate
time.
that. It's one of my favorite things. I'm really happy that it happens. Like, it's one of my favorite things because it's so many people that I admire in some way, shape, or form all together, and it's just like, this is just gives me so much joy to see people in community, especially people that I know are like lifting each other up to a higher standard.
It's working, dude. Keep hammering. Is that hammer on?
Hammer on.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Awesome. Next subject, work. Today it snowed. There's snow on the ground. Did you have to work on a Saturday?
So I had to check my lots. So I run a landscaping business, part owner in the landscaping business, and we didn't have to salt today because it barely snowed, but yesterday we were out getting salt. Yesterday morning we had to put some salt down.
Plug the name.
Roots Enterprises is the company. It's taught me a lot about business. Landscaping is a really tough industry.
Yeah, no.
It's
brutal.
Really difficult employees because unfortunately most of these guys that they haven't finished higher education. Some of them, like sometimes it's criminal charges, even very emotional and a little bit less logical typically is what I found with the employees. So it's difficult employees. It's really difficult customers because you're working on their houses for the most part, or businesses.
And they like to micromanage.
Yeah, people are very particular about how you do things.
Yeah.
And so difficult employees, difficult customers. Pricing is really difficult because it's a competitive market. It's really pretty low barrier to entry, so you don't need a ton to get into it. So pricing is definitely a competitive market. And then it's a low profit thing. So it's like if you're in it, you better be doing a lot of business so that you can make profit. And things are expensive in landscaping. It's not a new mower's not cheap, and new truck and trailer setup is not cheap. So it's teaching me a ton. I don't know if landscaping is what I want to do forever, but
it's making
the ability to learn all of these, the blessing of being able to learn all of these things, like right out of college, start doing this business. Even if I make $0, if I walk out of this and make $0 from anything I've done for the last 4 or 5 years as we've been building the company, I would still be super grateful that I did it. And the lessons learned are more valuable than any dollar, and I would take it into whatever business venture would enter next too. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I'm happy we have people like you around to make sure all the roads don't get too icy, and
somebody's got to be up at 4 a.m.
Yeah. No, it's awesome to see that. You're very well rounded. You got the whole triangle figured out, and you touch on all these bases.
Losing sleep. Sleep's the one that I got.
You can't have all three. But yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on before I ask my last question? Is there anything I left out in the whole pie that makes you?
Not as far as
maybe a little bit of fitness.
Do
you want to go into working out?
Yeah, as far as hobbies go, fitness is probably my favorite. I tore my ACL had surgery last February, so it's been 11 months now, and still kind of feeling the effects of that. But yeah, it's like just if anybody doesn't work out consistently, I highly encourage that they do, because the reset, like the thing I say, and you probably feel the same way, is like it's one time that almost every day I try to work out almost every day, and it's the one time of my day that is pretty much entirely selfish. Like I do it because I love to do it, and it's for the most part I work out by myself, and it's just me and myself, and sometimes talking to God, sometimes listening to music, listening to a podcast. It's just like that's my sacred me time. I love it.
You treasure that. You might only get 1 hour a day with all the stuff you have to juggle, but like that's what makes it that much more special. I feel like,
and it energizes me for the rest of the stuff going on. Like a morning workout it's the best. Is just gets you going for the day.
That's fantastic. Do you sauna, plunge ever?
Usually a couple times a week, usually.
Both?
Plunge a little bit less. Sauna a little bit more.
I'm trying to get the courage to go back into that water.
It's a blessing that the gym has a plunge.
It's so cool. It's also funny that we got reconnected through that gym.
That's pretty awesome. Epic. Great gym. InFit.
Incredible network there.
Yeah.
InFitness plug. Cool. Last question. You ready?
Got it. Yeah. What do we?
I ask everyone, like, speak from the heart to anyone who might be not so sure about anything you talked about today. Maybe they're on the ledge and they want to pursue something. Could you just give your elevator pitch to inspire anyone who's listening?
Yeah, 2 things come to mind. Faith being the first one. I encourage, there's probably somebody listening that feels like they're trying to keep up in life and they're doing so much, but they don't feel like they're stable. They just feel like they're just treading water. I'll go back to the grounding statement. Faith is an extremely grounding thing. It's, you know, that the ultimate creator sent his son and died for you. It's incredible. And despite the fact that we're extremely flawed people, it's incredibly grounding to know that no matter what you do and how you performed at work, or how much weight you lifted on the bench press, or how that date last week went, like, no matter all of that, you have a creator that loves you, and values you for the unique ways that you are. So that first thing, highly encourage people just to dig into faith. Most people know, I think a lot of people in America know the story of Jesus. If you don't, I would love to tell you about it. As people listening, you can reach out to me, and I would love to tell you about it. But second thing is, I'd say community. And what we touched on with Apex is highly encourage people to, no matter where you live, there are good people around. And there are people that, you think in Indianapolis, like, it's a very Midwest city, you think people just, for the most part, pretty typical, just like go to work at 8:30 and work till 5, go home, eat whatever for dinner, and put your feet up and watch TV. That's fine if that's how you love doing life. That's not what I'm striving for, and most of the people in my community are not just like there just to exist, want to make an impact. And there's a lot of people everywhere that are like that. They just might be a little hard to find. And so I can't guarantee that every time you go out and try something and try to meet new people that it's going to be a success and that you're going to meet cool people, but I can guarantee that you're not going to meet cool people if you're not going out and putting yourself in those situations. And so just encouragement for people that feel like they don't have community. There are good people out there, but you're not going to find them if you're just sitting on your phone or sitting at home or not going to places that are putting you around those people. So encouragement, push into faith. Encouragement, find community. There are good people out there.
That was amazing.
Cheers.
Thank you for being so eloquent and for sharing your story like that. That was awesome.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Hell yeah. Let's go.
I've lived with plenty and I live with less. Gave my soul to some counterfeits, but it never held me when I was a mess. Never loved me when I wasn't my best. God, I confess. Pray to you when times were hard, but when it was easy, withheld my heart. Still you showed me how good